Ah, Lost Planet 2. Lost Planet 2 is a game that, in large part, seems to have been popular but isn't talked about much, if at all. And this game has some genuinely good things going for it, including lots of great guns, great levels, and, most notably, fantastic boss battles. While there are 2 other games to the series, I chose to keep the list exclusively to Lost Planet 2 because I've had a lot of time with it. I only played the first game once fairly recently, and Lost Planet 3 is, well... So I'm sticking with Lost Planet 2. So here it is, my top 10 Lost Planet 2 bosses. The Over-G Akrid. Starting off the list, we have the last boss of the game. Why? Because the Over-G Akrid is largely just a really big level with a flashy and admittedly over-the-top boss at the end. The problem with this battle is it's a puzzle boss, in a sense, as you had to have been paying fairly close attention to the story to know what to do. For those of you who didn't know, here's what to do and why. Your primary objective is to attach your GPS unit to the Over-G Akrid's body so that a giant satellite cannon can fire on it from orbit. To do this, you must first shoot the shit out of one of the Over-G's tentacle blob things until the end becomes crusted like badly burned toast. The tentacle thing will then sink into the ground where, on the way, you can attach your GPS unit to its body, and the cannon will fire. You only need to do this once to succeed. Seriously? Just once will do. Dismissed. Get out. I mean it, get out. Get out and beat the boss already! This game came out in 2010! If you didn't know what to do on your first playthrough, like I did, you could be left with almost no indication what to do. But if you do know, either by figuring it out or paying attention, you can finish the boss in under 2 minutes. Well, the combat anyway. While this could be seen as a motive to listen to the game's story and, listen to your mission briefing, but this is Lost Planet 2. I want to shoot shit, not listen to dialogue. Still, the final attack is pretty epic. De Boss, or De Boss, De Boss, De Boss. Yeah, it's probably De Boss. The bosses called De Boss have an interesting gimmick attached to them. If you move or make any sound while they are doing a scan thing with their ears, you get hit by a laser beam and the bosses charge you or your teammates. They look more reptilian than arachnid, so they're a welcome change from the almost exclusively insectoid bosses in the rest of the game. Though, due to the physics in the game being just kind of okay, the bosses will often charge into walls and look a bit silly. Though, when they go through buildings that you're standing on, that's pretty cool. Especially that tower in the middle. The only thing that lets these bosses down is the easily hittable weak spot on their undersides. This is both Lost Planet 2's best and worst mechanic. You need to hit the glowy orange bits on the bosses, and while they regenerate, they are often easy to hit, especially with these two. But the satisfaction when you hit a boss with a really powerful attack in its weak spot is incredible. It's just fun to shoot them in the face! Oh, well, the weak spot. You get the picture. Undeep. This one is interesting as there was in fact a much harder version of this boss in the first game, but it was really a bit too hard, and as such the difficulty was lowered for Lost Planet 2. But the main reason that this thing gets its place is because of this awesome cutscene. Play the tape! Oh yeah. Buys Tenkale. This boss is amongst the biggest in the game and has the honour of being a great tutorial. Yes, I said tutorial. As you've just taken over a massive battleship thing, you get to go in that BFG on top, and this boss serves as a fun way to show you how to use it. You can use the smaller turrets to take it out, but let's face it, you're going to use the big gun. This boss is pretty simple to take out. Shoot the orange bits on its head and body, and when it basically tries lying on you to try and kill you, you shoot it in the mouth. There's also a way to get on its back with some careful ankle wizardry, but I just shot it in the mouth personally. It's way easier. I mean, why climb on top of something and look badass when you can just stay there and shoot it till it dies? Unless you have people watching. Then unnecessary badassery is approved. Whee! This is a fight that was carried over from the first game, except the boss is way bigger. Plus it looks damn ugly, the sort of thing us gamers just love to murder and kill because we can. Or the narrative demands it. Either is cool. Anyway, this boss has a variety of attacks to take you out, from a powerful swipe across the fight area to friggin' ice breath. Because who needs fire breath when you can just chill and have ice breath? Yeah, bad joke, whatever, go complain in the comments. This boss also has some seemingly useless leg things on its body, which, when destroyed, force it to show its eye really up close to you, where you can shotgun away until its limbs regenerate. This is also the first major boss in the game, not including the giant enemy boss in the prologue, which gets easily trumped by this thing. Good start to a great game. VF. As the main underwater boss in the game and the first VS, or vehicle, boss on the list, this giant submarine is immensely fun to fight. The only thing that annoys me is that it's hard to hit the weak spots on it with the heavy weapons the game gives you, but this game has pretty decent, if totally unrealistic, water physics, and this boss caps off the fantastic series of water levels that precede it. There's also a submarine VS hidden in the level, which I've never managed to find, but I have seen it used and it does seem to make the fight even more fun. The boss attacks you with a variety of torpedoes that, if they hit, cause very heavy damage, and the enemy troops deployed around you can also cause problems. Though the torpedoes are easy to dodge, it is very easy to lose track of this boss, and it can sneak up on you if that happens. Plus, the music is very fitting. It has a great awe factor, has sonar bloops added to keep that underwater feel. Gotta love it. Gordians. This is the second boss of the game and the flagship Akrid that was featured on the box art. The music in this fight is very Godzilla-like, making it really drive home how dangerous this thing is. While this thing's attacks aren't the most inspired in the world, they can still surprise you if it's your first time fighting it, especially when you get caught between its charge attack and a wall. You'll get squished into mincemeat. Ew. The best part of this fight is the many ways to beat the boss. You can try and take out its big old glowy spike on its back, or you can shoot the legs off and go inside it and shoot its innards, after which it poops you out. I'm not joking, it literally poops you out. I mean, hey, if I had a little guy with a gun trying to shoot my innards, I want him to suffer for it too. So you go, Gordiant, you poop out that guy. Cover him in crap for shooting you to bits. Nice. Akrid X. Oh man, this thing comes out of nowhere and wrecks everything. It's a goddamn space Akrid, and by god, it's terrifying. It gets shot with a giant railgun, gets its head blown off, and gets up from it. With Akrid X, the weak spot regenerates incessantly, plus it has a crap ton of health. And don't even try getting into the VS's, because Akrid X will take you right out. This thing's attacks are relentless and insanely powerful, easily able to take you out if you don't heal. This boss is by far the hardest in the game, and boy is it great when you beat it. Wait, it's regenerating. You can't do this to me, Capcom. I depleted its health bar fair and square. I call foul. Red card. Boo! Seriously though, this boss is great. The Overland Battleship. This is the game's equal terms battle, where you and your opponent have the same sort of stuff to fight each other with. And hot damn, this is a fun fight. You start out by taking out the enemy battleship's cannon. Then, once it's down, you saw off the wings of the enemy battleship with your mega beam gun, and then you get to board it. The next section is admittedly quite tough, but then, when you won, the captain decides to blow you up, and oh my god, look at the reward boxes! This is a great way to farm those things for later, so you can experience this fight over and over again, which is immensely fun every time I play it. The enemy battleship also tries sending enemy units and helicopters after you, but let's be honest, none of them stood a chance. On hard mode, this fight is much more difficult, as the cannon takes the same amount of time to charge as the enemy one, increasing the intensity. All in all, a great battle. But what could beat it? Red Eye. This is one of the few bosses in the game with a bit of build-up. You first encounter it on a train where you have to delay it until you can load fuel into a helicopter to escape. This bit is a bit boring, as you can't beat Red Eye at first. But the best part of this encounter is the music, which is used later on in the game. But then, after taking control of the railway gun 2 chapters later, it comes back. It's on, baby! With control of the railway gun, you finally get to give Red Eye what's coming to it. The railway gun actually controls quite well, with lots of shells scattered everywhere for you to use. It's best to use the armor-piercing wrath shells to take out the big armor blobs on its sides, as the other cobalt shells need 2 shots to take out 1 blob, and then the weak point underneath. Red Eye itself is relentless, and you can even heal the railway gun with coolant if needed. And then, there's the finale. Red Eye, in a desperate attempt to finish you off, tries to eat you wholesale from behind. And if it succeeds, it's an instant game over. But, if you fire a shell into its mouth as it prepares to eat you, you finish it off and it explodes into tiny little bits.
See that? Now that was a battle.
Yes, Travis. Yes, it was.